Hello, well in this film I'm going to continue my theme of wallets and show you a bit about the assembly of the wallets. So how I put all the sort of panels in for the card slots and the secret pockets, etc. So I've already gone through the stage of cutting out the components in this lovely Russian leather. I find there's a sort of secret tip for getting my logo to embed nicely on this cross-grain leather, and it's actually to soak the leather from the reverse side. So just using a sprayer bottle, I'll let that sink through. I soak the leather on the reverse side and then I'll press down with a press. Now the other little trick is to press into something soft below the leather, because you'll actually get a deeper, better impression. So here's one I soaked earlier. Get my stamp the right way up. It's nicely positioned, and I bring the ram down on my ratchet press, pull on the lever, a nice even firm pressure, and you'll find I get a good impression this way. That obviously will dry out, but there's a nice firm, deep, purposeful maker's mark. But I've just been polishing up all the edges, so these are all the edges which are inside the wallet, so hidden externally. I've got here the wallet dividers, so I've done all the top edges of those. So at the moment I'm assembling one of the inners for the wallet, and the way I do this, I'm using the lines on my green cutting mat here to get things squared up. I then get the lower panel into position and then place the inner first panel down, and the idea here is to basically get it lined up so that it's sitting square. The one part where it would really show if you didn't have this right would be where the sort of card slots join each other. So that's what I'm particularly checking on. The rest of it you can trim to make it a very good fit, so it's not a problem, but that top bit has got to fit nicely, and that's fine. So once I'm happy with that, I just press it down, and that's then ready for sewing over to keep it down. And it's the same idea with the other remaining panels. I basically use some double-sided tape to tape all around to hold them while I'm sewing. So this double-sided tape, it's like double-sided sellotape, and you can buy it from sewing type shops. Card making in particular it's used for, so card making supplies is probably your best bet, but it's just double-sided tape. So again, got my tape on, I'll line that up. I won't stick that one down yet because I'm going to sew along this bottom piece. I will then bend that up, put the next card slot in, again taping it into position so it lines up with the top of this one, and then sew that one in, and then I sew the top bit on like that, and then I go around, trim it all, I can polish it all and start the main assembly into the wallet body. But it is a matter of getting things correctly placed, sewing them in a set sort of order, and then assembling, and like that it works pretty well. So just to show you what these card slots are doing, basically they're T-slots, and by sewing them down, when you come to insert a card into your wallet, it doesn't disappear because it's being sort of, there's an end stop for it in effect. So if I put this one in, you'll see what I mean. So again, that stitch line gives you an end stop. And the good thing about that is, obviously, when you want to get cards out of your wallet, you can just got something to pull on. So with this wallet there'll be a final layer which I'll glue and sew into position, but you'll have then 3 pockets for 3 cards, and they'll all be poking up. If you didn't sew this down, basically the card could sort of slip right down your wallet and they'd be sort of lost. So some people on wallets just have like a slot for a card, like a slit, and then the cards all drop down horribly. But by having an anchor point with these separate T-slots, obviously it's making sure that they keep up, which is what you want. You don't actually need a very powerful sewing machine to do this. I am using, because it's the only one I've got really to speak of, is this fairly heavy duty industrial machine, but you could do this sewing on a far lighter machine. But the idea here, I'm just going to sew in one of the T-slots, so I'm using a fairly fine stitch, and it will anchor that T-slot nicely into the wallet itself. I'll come in close so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to sew the interior seam that holds all the bits together, and this is where walking foot is quite nice, because I've got multiple gradients that I'm sort of sewing up. So this is needle feed, compound feed machine. So I take my time and I make sure that everything keeps nice and flat. Checking progress, that's fine. So I'm using an edge guide here to actually get a nice consistent row of stitching, and it's very useful. There we are. I have a knee lift on this machine, which is quite good, so I can raise the foot by moving my knee. Just trim off the threads. So there's my row of stitching I've just put in. So I've got my card slots for the side of the wallet. I'll obviously polish and dye this edge, etc., so it all blends in nicely. I've already done all the top edges, they're ready. I'll show you now how this assembles into the wallet. You have your wallet outer, and then that will get sewn onto there when it's all been polished. That will get sewn onto there, and that gives you like 2 secret pockets underneath here and 6 card slots, and then obviously it'll be folded over and you'll have a wallet. That's the sort of vague idea. It all gets trimmed up so it gets nice and level, it all gets polished, and obviously it all gets sewn round. So a stitched up wallet takes quite a long time actually. I have to make sure I get everything as accurate as I can. But I enjoy the challenge of the stitching, and then what I do, I just go through with my little bone folder here to make sure my pockets are all nicely clear and open. To do the fold, I dampen the spine and then put it in a press, and that gets the wallet nicely folded. I use a nice soft bristle brush to get rid of the last of the surface tannery wax, and it comes up very nicely. Obviously, in making this film, I've given you sort of an idea of some of the processes into making one of these wallets, and there are a lot more steps and a lot more sort of sequences. I have to seal all the edges, I have to line everything up and re-trim them, have to polish them, and the assembly itself does take a long time. But it's nice, you end up with a very satisfying, lovely wallet. And it is a thing, I love this leather. I do love the smell of it as well. Wearing off a bit now, I've been working on it, but it will still, you'll still get it. If you put your hands on it, you'll still get the smell a bit there. It obviously over the years it wears off. The birch-oil is put in partly because it actually preserves the life of the leather, and that's why they were able to take up rolls of it from underneath the sea and still in good condition. It repels insects and things like that, but it's keeps it nice. But I just love the leather. It's a beautiful appearance, it's a lovely quality and real thing of beauty. So there you are, bit of an insight there into the wallets and how I make them. Hope you enjoyed the films on these. I'll be posting more films on other things and probably something else on wallets to show you some of the other parts of it at some point. But anyway, thanks very much for watching and see you in the next film. Bye then.